So why a social healing center? What is it all about? In trying to explain it, I thought we'd identify some of the barriers that adults face, and this is men and women, um, adult Hmong um, refugees. And then addressing some of those barriers, how are we going to do that? And then, we've had a trial run of a year to kind of get some results. So what are those results after our first year? Some of the barriers, and some of this may be a repeat of what you've seen earlier. When I looked at the presentation, I saw that I had hit some of the same points that the research had done, and which was good, So adult Hmong refugees and other Southeast Asian refugee groups, which we also serve, they tend to struggle with some of these issues here. Social isolation, boredom, disconnection from a sense of community, lack of essential life skills, lack of productivity and meaning, stigma and loss of roles. All those can be greatly explained, but I'm sure it makes sense to you. And then Western medicine isn't always effective or isn't a first option. It's usually an alternative. Probably the last alternative. So for you to understand that, that's a huge barrier. Many don't recognize their mental health symptoms. It was mentioned earlier about the somatic experiencing of certain things. So it gets turned into that, and rather than, oh, I have depression, They don't know how to access the system. If they do know, they still don't understand the roles of various providers. Even to this day, clients will say, "You're my what?" What do you do? How? And can't you do this? So that goes back to, okay, it takes patience and explaining to them. This is what I can do. This is what I can't. This is my role. And in understanding the Western system, that makes sense to you. My case manager can only do this. This social adjustment piece can only do this. And so it's good for them to understand it, and the repetition really helps them too. Clients may have multiple providers, as many others may, and then that can get confusing as well. And then it was mentioned earlier, but just the concept of seeing a therapist weekly or monthly and sitting in a room to talk about your problems is foreign to many refugees. It just doesn't happen. That's not their mindset. So how do we, but that's the Western mindset of, this is how you deal with your problems. So how do we adapt that to them? Not totally take that away, but incorporate some of that with things that they are familiar with. Addressing these barriers, we created something called the Social Healing Center. And that's, I'll show you a picture of it in a minute. But we use this space over at where the old Wilder building was, right below it. And one of the houses is called Holcomb House. And we share this space with another program that's there. But we thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to have clients come in to a place that they could see someone they would recognize and get some of their needs, their psychosocial needs met in ways that they couldn't do in a therapy setting. And that was the concept. And we thought we can do this by creating greater access for them, making it local, making it on a bus route so they could take the bus here if they learned to do that. Making it non-Western, so it wasn't something where you had to have an appointment to come and show up. We're not billing them through their medical assistance or anything, so it's free of charge. By balancing the health and healing with Western practices, Tony mentioned earlier, just learning things ourselves so that we can teach to the clients things that may be different from them, but may be more familiar to them than, things that they may learn in a Western setting. So, community meals, Tai Chi, Qigong, community activities throughout the year. So it wouldn't always be at this location, but getting them out and having them see things and learn things, for maybe sometimes for the first time. This past winter, I was able to take some clients out snow tubing, and that was their first time they ever went downhill willingly, So it was it was an interesting concept for them to do that and for them to want to do things like that again. Um, Giving clients support from staff that are their ethnic group. And by that we mean identifying those at-risk ones, the ones who are in case management, who might, maybe SPMI or high needs, and giving them just a more of a seamless mental health service. So you're working with case management, you're working with those services as well as that. Providing a place for participants to experience a sense of belonging and active participation in their recovery, which is the socialization piece. You know, you're there and you see others who are in similar situations. Wow, this is a great chance. I'm not alone. So that piece. Here's a picture of, 3 pictures of the place. The first picture on the left is a picture of Holcomb House that we use, and then the one on the right is the inside. We one of the rooms, one of the meeting rooms that we meet in, and then on the bottom is one of our Vietnamese groups. They decided for their summer activity they would just plant some flowers around and some peppers and other things too around there. So things that made sense, that was every day for them. We gave them that space to do that, and in a way that helps them connect with what they're familiar with, and then maybe in a small way heal. So our results after our first year, we served 4 groups here. We served the Hmong, the Vietnamese, the Cambodian, and the Karen. And so these are some numbers that were unduplicated of the communities that we served. The interesting thing about the Karen community is that's our newest group to come here to the U.S. And in a lot of ways, they've been through a lot of similar experiences to the other Southeast Asian groups as well. But about mid-year, we started working with the Karen population, and we have a Karen staff here as well. So we're able to add that into our social adjustment group piece. We've also introduced a wide variety of alternative healing and wellness practices to our clients. Some of them are educational classes on wellness, nutrition, exercise and relaxation, the Healing Garden program at Wilder Forest. This last one, it made sense, but it made more sense when we realized what was going on. And this is one of our most popular programs. The concept was Hmong men and women, Hmong women at first, really love to garden. They'll do it naturally. That was their past. That's what they grew up with all their life. And so they come here, and why not provide them with a place to do that? Why not provide them with transportation? Everything was free so that they could go out there and do that. And then, in essence, they would be teaching us, who were younger and more inexperienced, and then, in a way, connect with the earth and do things that were familiar with them. I think it originally started with just a couple farmers, and this year we opened up, and we have about 30 gardeners this year. And some of those include a group of men that wanted to garden too. So the men would just get one patch, one plot. So like maybe 5 men would do one plot versus one woman doing one plot on her own, which is probably more realistic anyway. The Social Healing Center is a place for increasing our clients' social connections through relationship building, cultural arts, some of the things that we did and the other counselors did while working with them, with the Karen clients. They sewed some shoulder bags for them so that they would have something. And that really meant a lot for them. If you see Karen people, you'll notice them by their shoulder bags that they carry. They're really distinctive for their culture. We also sold some quilt blankets, some pando, and some winter hats, and had the clients do that themselves at the Social Healing Center. And the Social Healing Center partnered with Wilder's Mobile Resource Center to offer numerous computer education classes to Hmong and Vietnamese clients, oftentimes using bilingual community volunteers. So the hope is maybe even looking for jobs, maybe even getting the job skills and personal skills and helping them get, some of them we were able to help them get a computer that it was at a very inexpensive price as well. It's also been an excellent placement experience for many of our social work interns. And lastly, we also focus on continuing staff training to learn about additional effective strategies for healing and wellness to work more effectively with our clients. One of those was the Henry Emmons training on wellness that he came and trained our staff with that. So thank you very much.